One of the best parts of Pokemon is the ability to battle and trade with friends. Ever since Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, this has been easier than ever thanks to the World Wide Web. But what about games before Diamond and Pearl? Well, those only have local play available. Local play back then would use a physical link cable, or for Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Emerald, a wireless adapter. This was fine when I was, in elementary school. And I am even lucky enough right now to have one single person near me who is interested in trading and battling in real life. But I always yearned for a larger community in the older gen games, especially Emerald version. Now though, thanks to the GB Link team, you can play Pokemon and more online on the actual Game Boy Advanced. I'll also mention I have two of these devices, the current version and Revision 2, which is not out yet. When I purchased the original version on Etsy, the dev Starlark recognized me and asked if they could throw in the newer version for free to test it before it launches. So I got a second one of these products for free. That being said, they didn't pay me to do this video, nor do I get a commission from selling this or something like that. I just think it's really cool. But you know who I get paid from? Advanced GG. As I said at the start of the video, I'm now partnered with Advanced GG. They sent me a bunch of their products to try, and I actually really liked it. So if you want to help me out and support this partnership, you can go to my store page. But I wouldn't be showing you guys something if I didn't actually like it, and the truth is I've been drinking this instead of coffee pretty much every day for like a month and a half since they sent it to me, because I genuinely like it. It's really sweet without having any sugar, and I find that the caffeine levels are much better for what I need anyway. And coffee, I had like much worse self-control with. I would drink like 2 or 3 cups of coffee in a day. I would spike really bad. With this stuff, I do 2 scoops, and I'm good for the whole day. I would show you the other energy flavor that I had, which was mango, which was really, really good. But I drank all of it. And I would show you the hydration flavor, but my wife drank all of that. And the hydration stuff is also just like something that you could add to your water to give it more flavor, but there's no caffeine or anything like that. They're really, really delicious. If you want to support me in this partnership, you can go to my store page. I'll have it on screen now and linked in the description and the pinned comment. Okay, so let's go over how this device works and what you have to do to set it up. I would say for the most part, this is plug and play. I'll be going over how I got my device working for the Gen 3 Pokemon games and what it can do. In order to set it up, you'll need a link cable, the GB Link device, a Game Boy Advance that has a link cable port, a computer and a browser, and a USB Type-C cable. I would say the link cable is the most finicky part of this, if you could even say that. Basically, you need a link cable that has a ground pin. A generic Game Boy Color cable will work, as it has all 6 pins and works with the Game Boy Advance game, surprisingly. But if you want to use an official one, make sure it's one of the multi-link cables, like this one. It'll have a link cable port in the middle. In addition, if you're using the official multi-link cable, you must connect the wider part of it, which is usually gray, to the Game Boy Advanced, and the thinner part to the device. And do this before you plug it into the computer. For the version 1 devices, you want to make sure that the link cable is facing the correct direction, because there's nothing to stop you from plugging it in upside down. You can check a pinout on the board. For me, this is what it looked like plugged in. On the version 2 devices, there's an actual link cable port there, so you can't plug anything in incorrectly. For the rest of the video, I'm going to focus on the version 2 device, since there's no real differences left between the two of them, and I won't accidentally plug the cable in the wrong way while I'm setting something up. So once you've got the link cable and the Game Boy Advance connected, you need to plug a USB Type-C cable into your computer and into the Game Boy Link. Once you're all set up, you can turn on the GBA and head to the Link Center upstairs. Now we'll head to the website gblink.io. This website is all you'll need. You don't have to download and install anything, but you will need to apply some add-ons to your browser. I'm using Firefox in this video. On the website, click the USB launcher button and then scroll to the bottom and click Connect in the device health box. This page will ask you to install a Firefox add-on to allow serial communication from the browser. Then you'll be asked to allow serial port connection. You have to say yes to both of these. From here, if your adapter is not on the latest firmware, it'll ask you to update. Mine wasn't, and doing so is a very easy process. I click the Reboot Adapter into Update Mode button, and then the GB Link device will show up as a USB device. Download the firmware and drag it into the adapter. Once you do that, you're done and you can click the Disconnect button. And now you're pretty much ready to play games online. Pokemon has 2 different options in the launcher page, and I'll be focusing on the Gen 3 experience. I also don't have any of these other games, so I can't speak to their functionality or what the experience is like. So far, I'll say this is a very smooth experience. My only issue at all with the device is on V1, the ability to connect the link cable incorrectly. It took me some finagling and switching around the cable to different ports and stuff until I got it connected. V2 I had zero issues with and it worked immediately. The first way to play Pokemon is exclusive for Gen 3 and it's the Celio Link option. There's a few options within Celio Link and I'll be showcasing my two favorites, and they're pretty self-explanatory anyway. The first is online play, which lets you play with another person online who also has the Gba Link device. You may have to install a browser add-on again and click Allow Communication because this is a different page, but it's the same as it was for updating, so don't worry about it. After that's done, you can either make a lobby or join one. I'll create a session and send my friend the code. Once we're both in, we can click Start and I'll talk to the link cable lady. I do a Coliseum battle and yeah, we're playing. Now, full disclosure, for the purposes of this video, I'm battling and trading myself, but it's on two different computers in two different rooms of my house, and it is using the internet, which is kind of funny to think about. But I have done this with real people, and it's really cool, and the experience is not really that different. Anyway, in my experience so far, the connection has been pretty stable and fun to use. I noticed some input lag, but to be honest, the base Pokemon multiplayer experience in Gen 3 already has a bunch of delay, so I'm not sure how much the device is actually adding. Using this, you can play Gen 3 one-on-one normally however you would with your friends. All the standard Link stuff works. Link matches, trades, record mixing, even the Battle Frontier. The only thing not supported right now is more than 2 players at a time, so no multi-battles as of this recording. That being said, I know the team plans to support it at some point, and this would be awesome for me to experience because I don't think I've ever done a 4-player battle before. Honestly, this is a dream come true. It is genuinely unbelievable. The only complaint I can even think of is I wish I had this when I was a kid. And maybe it'd be nice to have some kind of ladder for battles, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. The other thing I think that's really cool in the Celio Link page is the ability to link up with an emulator. You could do emulator versus emulator online, or an emulator versus a real Game Boy Advance locally. I've actually made a few different videos on how to do emulator play online for Gen 3, but the way this website works is so much easier, I would say that video is outdated unless you specifically want to play Coliseum online. The emulator versus emulator online, like I said, is pretty much identical to this process. I haven't tried it out with a different person yet, but I'm sure the experience is just as smooth. Celio Link is honestly great, and I'm sure it's only going to improve with time. I can't commend the team enough for this. So if Celio Link can do everything local multiplayer could do for Gen 3 normally, what's this other option for Pokemon here? Well, it's for Gens 1 through 3, and it's a trading client by Lorenzo, who made Gen 3 to Gen X a transfer homebrew tool. It's a client that allows you to trade through a multi-boot, and is the only way Gen 1 and Gen 2 are supported for online play at the moment. However, the coolest part for me is the pool trade option, which is basically Wonder Trade for the modern games. So Egglocks or Wonder Trade Gauntlets or Absolblog's Pokemon Wonder Trade Pokédex completion are on the table pretty easily now. That's it for Pokemon, honestly. I wish I had more to say or this was a longer video, but honestly, the product is pretty seamless, easy to use, and I would say revolutionary. The biggest downside as a whole is the limited game pool at the moment, where it's just Pokemon, Tetris, Yoshi, Dr. Mario, and Advanced Wars. There's also some other cool utilities here, like the ability to send stuff to the Game Boy printer, or send a multi-boot to your game and do other stuff like back up your save. Of course, this downside won't be for long. The people working on this are working on adding more games and features every day. I was just talking to Starlark, one of the devs, and they said, yeah, they're going to try and get the e-reader to work with this, which would mean maybe my custom events could be sent this way. What I want to do is send all of you to the Etsy page for the V1 and the crowd supply page for the version 2 of the Gba Link device when it launches. You can find both of these in the description and in the pinned comment. I'd also encourage you to join their Discord or mine, where I'll be looking for Gen 3 battles on real hardware with Pokemon that I RNG maniped. If you have any questions about how to set up the device or any troubleshooting problems, you can ask in their Discord, you can ask in the YouTube comments here as well, or even in my Discord. I'm not like a professional, like I didn't develop this thing, I was not involved in making it in any way or anything like that, but I can walk you through what I did and try and help you out that way. I want to give a big thank you to the GB Link team for making this device and for sending me the free version too. I hope I'm able to get a ton of use out of this. I really, really hope so. I would love to form a decently big community for online play for Gen 3. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all next video.